Hello everybody, my name is Zen and welcome to my first impressions of Kerbal Space Program 2, a game that I have been waiting for so long to come out. The original Kerbal Space Program is one of my favorites. I did a bunch of content on it back in the day on the channel, and it is also one of the earliest success stories of Steam Early Access. Now, Kerbal Space Program 2 is, in fact, in early access, so the game will be updated as we go, but it's apparently mostly a upgraded version of Kerbal Space Program, and that's only a good thing. I think Kerbal Space Program had its own wonkiness to it, but it was still great at what it was, and the modding community at large really elevated that game to a whole different level. And if you've never played the original KSP using mods, then I recommend it. But we're gonna jump in. This is technically my first impressions, but I've played the first game before. I kind of know what I'm getting into here. And if you've never played Kerbal Space Program, let's just say, well, one, there's gonna be quite a few jump cuts in this as I'm building things and then actually testing them out. And two, this does utilize quite a lot of actual like rocket science. So if you've never played these kind of games or you have no idea of anything about space, you're gonna learn, and it is a lot of fun to learn in this game. They make it fun. So single player, we could start a new campaign. Let's go ahead and start a new campaign. We got a bunch of stuff here. We can go sandbox mode only at the moment. In an upcoming update, it's gonna have their campaign mode, where you have like missions and whatnot, and you're completing contracts and doing normal space station or not space program stuff. But we're gonna go normal campaign. Let's just call it, I don't know. I'm spacing on the name. I'll get to it in a second. Let's look at the difficulty presets here. So you can allow reverts back to the start of a launch, instead of having to live with your actions. It's like hardcore mode if you turn that off. Quick loads include stock vessels. You can turn on infinite fuel and power if you so choose. There's unbreakable joints, so your things don't blow up, and then no crash damage, so your things don't blow up. But this is a game in which you kind of, blowing up is part of the process. Campaign name, we're gonna go with the Great Beyond. Bam. Agency name, man, I didn't think I had to name two things. Now it's putting me on the spot. Let's just call it the Zenkiki Memorial Space Agency. I don't know why I'm dead in this, but apparently I am. Oh, they got a lot of the same flags from the first game. It's the flags that they put in. I'm gonna go with my standard, actually. I really like this one for whatever reason. Although there's some other good ones here. I like that one. You know what? I think this one is appropriate. I like that one. Oh man, I like the Kraken too. The scroll wheel is really annoying to use on this. Again, early access stuff, because it kind of like skips a bunch of this. Let's go with the Kraken. You can change colors and everything. Start campaign. Because it is sandbox mode, we're gonna have a bunch of stuff unlocked that you normally wouldn't when you go into a campaign version of Kerbal Space Program. And that's kind of part of the fun, is unlocking stuff, like doing your first flight, your first rocket test, and getting to a specific height, and then, going even higher, and then getting out of the atmosphere, and then finally creating, your first, your orbit around Kerbin. This is cool.
Your new space program, leaping forward into the cosmos. Since the dawn of Kerbal
Kerbal
we have looked to the sky and wondered what sublime mysteries lie hidden in the darkness, like jewels never beheld. These untold treasures may soon reveal themselves due to the efforts recently founded Kerbal Space Program.
Oh my, I think that might have been the only copy of the orientation film. Hold on! Slides, somewhere. Welcome to your first day running the Kerbal Space Program. This campus hosts the greatest ever gathering of astronomers, astronauts, and engineers. After years of focused effort, this collection of geniuses has created several very impressive buildings. We believe we have all the necessary pieces to take our first steps off the ground. The best way to advance our technologies further is to get up there and learn by doing. All we need now is somebody to show us how to put all these parts together. Well, we also need somebody to help us out with the flying. We need a lot of help, actually. That's why you're here. My name is Paige, by the way. If you need any hints, feel free to visit me over at the training center. Everything in there is well padded, so it's a great place to get up and running. Welcome aboard!
That actually does sound like a great place to start if you've never played Kerbal Space Program. I keep like tripping over those series of words. I'm really tired, first of all. Second, I'm just having issues tonight. So she says, hello and welcome. This campus has everything you need to turn your fledgling space program into the stuff of legends. Our engineers have created a training program that will guide you through building and flying your very first rocket. You can go through those lessons here at the training center. Cool. As an option, if you want to start building right away, the vehicle assembly building is where you want to be. It's this building over here. So what do we have here? So we have the training center, of course. We have the tracking station, so we could track different places. We're going to actually head over there first. In this little first impressions, we have our launch pad. We have our runways. I like that there's 2 runways here. The original only had the 1, and I like that a lot. Okay, so let's head to the tracking station because this gives a good idea of what you guys are about to get yourself into if you've never played this game before. So this is the map view, which shows the positions and flight paths of every vehicle, object, and celestial body, no matter how far it is from home. Feel free to zoom in and out to get a better look at things. Double click to focus on any object. Holding middle mouse down will allow you to freely move the camera. Reset the camera with home. If you select a point at a vehicle's trajectory, you can place a maneuver plan at that location. This is all very advanced here for you. This lets you predict the outcome of a future maneuver, and it tells you when and how to perform it. That's important. I'll talk about that in a moment. If you're curious about maneuvers, the training center teaches you how to use and execute them. If you want to change focus to a new vehicle, object, or celestial body, you can do that in the tracking station. Okay, so here is Kerbin. Welcome to Kerbin. Kerbin is our planet as Kerbals. It appears we are starting about the midpoint on the planet, which, you know, is a pretty typical spot to start a space station or a space program. I live in Florida. I regularly get to see things taking off from Cape Canaveral. I'm only a couple hours away from Canaveral, so it's pretty cool. But that's kind of the location, is you're towards the equator. So let's see here. We have the different bodies within the Kerbin sphere here. So we have the moon, as in the M-U-N, the moon. So you see in our little system, we have the moon, and we can go check out the said moon. It's very pretty. Wow, this game is looking great. They're doing a good job. It's an upgrade from the first game. And then we have Minmus. Now, Minmus is Kerbin's second moon. So unlike Earth, which, you know, I guess Kerbin is an Earth analog. Unlike that, we have a whole other moon here called Minmus, which has significantly lower gravity than the moon. All right, so then we can zoom out even further, and you can see we just got a whole, you know, system here. So let's go inwards towards the sun. You've got Gilly. So Gilly has... or Eve. Gilly is the moon of Eve, right? Eve is like a gas giant, kind of. Heavy gravity. Not a gas giant. What's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't matter. We'll get there. So that's where Kerbin is. Moho is on the inner part of the galaxy. So not actually letting me go to it. I guess if I just hit the focus button, it'll go straight to us. Just kind of a barren rock, honestly. Some of these planets have kind of cool little Easter eggs on them that you can find, at least in the first game. We'll see if they are still here in the second game. I bet they are. We have Duna. Duna is like the Mars analog, as you can see here. I'm getting to Duna is one of my favorite parts in the game, and then it has its moon of Ike. Then you have Drez, which is a little bit further out. I like that it has like all of this stuff, like synopsis: a dwarf planet. Drez has the gravitational pull to round itself out as it orbits the sun, but it doesn't rule. It's inclined, but it doesn't. Oh, okay. I see. Eccentric orbit, like a proper planet. Okay, so can we focus it? It's not like. No, that's Duna. I thought I just clicked on Drez. No, apparently I missed it. So that's Drez. And we have Jewel. Jewel is where is it? There it is. Jewel is the gas giant. It's kind of like Jupiter. And Jewel has a bunch of moons all around it. And then Elo is way out here. It's kind of our Pluto analog. Ooh, very pretty. They did a great job of the textures on these planets. That was one of the first thing that I modded in the original game, was the textures on planets. So, and then of course we have our sun. We could speed up time here and everything. We're not necessarily going to do that. We can go ahead and go back to the Space Center. And then from here, we can kind of look around a little bit, but we're going to go to the vehicle assembly building because we need to make a vehicle. We need to get into space. Enough looking at the game. Let's make something. Let's see. The UI is a little different than it was in the original. So welcome to the vehicle assembly building, or VAB. This is where you assemble vehicles to take you wherever you want to go. Over here is the parts picker. You take pieces from the parts picker and place them in your workshop, which is in the middle. A good starting rocket has a command pod, an engine, and a fuel tank. That's actually like the most basic thing ever. You can view parts by category. You can also search and sort parts. By default, parts are sorted by type. If you have a part you use often, you can add it to your favorites by clicking the middle mouse button. Ooh, that's nifty. I like that, the ability to add to favorites. You can construct several assemblies or sections of your vehicle at the same time. The assembly marked with the green icon is your launch assembly. It is what goes out the door when you select launch. This is an upgrade. And okay, so let's think of it this way. Let me try to explain this. For the most part, I'm assuming that you have either put very little time into Kerbal Space Program or know nothing about space programs in general. So this is going to be a bit of a crash course. So imagine you have a rocket that has two stages. It has the first stage is the big rocket that launches it off of the launch pad into either low orbit or into orbit, a stable orbit around the planet. That would be your first stage. Your second stage would either get you into low orbit or secure your orbit and then take you to, I don't know, the moon, for example. And then if you wanted a third stage, it could be like your actual landing craft to the moon. And it seems like the sub-assemblies allow you to create that third like craft that's going to go to the moon separately and then bring it in. So that's a big improvement from the first game. Because before you would have to like save it as a whole thing and then like import. It was really annoying. Use the engineer's report to see how your vehicle will perform. It will give you useful stats and a list of potential problems. For example, you can use the engineer's report to see if you have a thrust to weight ratio over 1, which means your rocket will actually leave the launch pad. Over here is a trip planner. Okay, so we got the engineer's report. Oh, nice. Okay, we got the trip planner. Close that. Use it to pilot or plot a destination and ensure that your vehicle has the ability to get there. Once you're ready to fly, select the launch button. As long as your vehicle fits completely within the vehicle assembly bay, it will be moved to your chosen location, launch location. The training center teaches everything from basic rocket construction to orbital mechanics. It's both fun and informative. I know the basics on that, so I'm not going to jump into it. So we could be like from Kerbin to the moon. That's our destination, one-way trip or round trip, right? So are you going to be able to return, or are you just going there to check out the moon? Our goal for this first impression is just to get into orbit. That's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and close that out. Again, first thing you need, command pod. So how small do we want to make this? Well, we're just trying to get into the into orbit. So actually, I'm not even going to bring any people with us. So the pods are going to be able to fit your Kerbals in. So like if I get in here, you see it's kind of like your standard rocket pod that you would put like a parachute on the top so it can return and all that. We're not looking to return necessarily. We're just looking to... How am I going to delete this? Okay, just drag it over there. Is there a hotkey to delete? That would be great because you could do that in other ones. Yeah, let's go with just like a very simple low mass probe. So I think I'm going to go with this. Again, I should mention that there's going to be quite a few jump cuts in this as we build stuff. So I'm going to go with this one. It has a reaction wheel, which is going to allow us to maneuver the thing a little bit without actually having to use a rocket, not like propulsion, but being able to like rotate it left and right. And then it's a fairly decent weight, but it's going to be inline, which means that I can put stuff on top of it. We also have cockpits, so if we wanted to make like a shuttle or a single stage to orbit aircraft, like you could do that kind of stuff. And then they have rover things. Like, look at this. Oh man, you can make cool looking rovers. Oh, I'm really looking forward to getting some cool rovers on the moon. And I'm looking forward to the campaign mode coming because it gives you things like go to the moon, get some samples and bring them back, and you get some science, and it unlocks more modules. Right now we have everything unlocked for us. So now I think what we're going to want to do is get a fuel tank. So we want to get to orbit. This is a fairly large fuel tank here, but I think what I want to do is go with a smaller stage. So probably like this here. Okay, yeah, so that'll be enough. And then let's put a rocket on the end of that. So engines. We don't need something huge. This is a teeny tiny little rocket. That's for like small things. This is a hybrid engine. No, we need a rocket fuel engine. So probably just good old Reliant over here. I think that'll do. I could probably actually go smaller than that if there is one. This is higher mass. We want as low mass as possible here. This one has way more thrust, but this one, what's the difference? Has less max thrust, but is... It looks like it works better for vectoring, which actually may be pretty nice. So I don't know. It is like significantly more mass. I think we're going to put that there. So this is going to be our second stage, essentially. And we need to round out the top with some aerodynamics. That way it's kind of got a cone to it. So we can pop this on the top like that. Bam, right? Pretty cool. Pretty easy, you might say. Bunch of other aerodynamic stuff there, mostly for building aircraft. You can build aircraft. We have payload stuff. Oh, so we could do like cool on like fairings. So for example, let's get rid of that. So like if I put a fairing here, it'll protect that, which is exactly what we want to do. And if I had like, I don't know, do they have science stuff? They have communication stuff. Ooh, so we could put oh, this is so cool. An antenna, like if we put the antenna on top, or maybe if I do like a, can I snap it to the center? Maybe there's a better antenna that I'm not actually considering. That thing's huge. That's a deployable antenna. What about this? Yeah, let's put that like that. So this is an antenna that we could deploy. We're basically gonna put this thing into space and then leave it there. I also would love a battery. We're gonna need batteries, right? So we have perfect. Actually, maybe 2 batteries. Let's go with 2 batteries here. There's solar arrays. We're probably going to need a few of those, actually, because this is a probe and we're going to need electricity or a way to generate electricity, right? So, oh, this is cool. So what does this do? Does this deploy in a circle? It does. Oh, that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's really, really cool. This one seems to be inline. These are like panels that we could put on. I don't want anything too crazy. But I also kind of want it. Do they just have like structural stuff? Okay, so what I've done here is I've added. Oh, let's put this down. I've added a monopropellant container, and that is for maneuvering. I've decided that this stage, because I have a decoupler here, so decouplers are for breaking it apart. So it's basically an explosive that is going to go off and remove the engine. We don't need an engine once we're in orbit with this thing. We plan on making a satellite, right? So then with the monopropellant, I actually need a way to control that. So we're going to go to propellant things. We're going to find monopropellant. So this is extra small, but oh, this says extra small, but I don't know. It's kind of bigger than I was expecting. Do I have solid fuel boosters, jet engines? I wonder if there's a way to... Oh, this is cool. So they have like hydrogen engines. These things are going to be big. That's going to be for like moving huge craft from point A to point B in the solar system. I was kind of hoping these monopropellant engines would be a bit smaller, because they're pretty big. Now, is there a way? Yeah, so I can full on like get into the weeds of things here, where I can like kind of put them in our probe here if I wanted to, but I don't know exactly how I want to do this. I guess I don't need propellant, and the reason why we're doing this oh no, I gotta go back to select. We're doing this on the fly. I don't need the monopropellant because I don't plan on docking it to anything, and anything that would have to come and like quote unquote work on this would be able to get to it. So if you hit X on the keyboard, it changes the symmetry number, so I can, you know, put an extra one on the other side and it would remain symmetrical. And then if these are deployed, why'd that pop that off? Here, let's put that back on. So if you extend them, it's going to look like that, right? Perfect. Exactly what we wanted. Then I've got those. So those are 2 batteries, and then I'm basically going to have, this is the probe core. So if I remove this, the middle part here is the probe core. This is the decoupler. And then we're just going to put a simple, let's turn the symmetry off on that, so we just get the 1. We're going to put this right in the center, and that will be our little communication device for this. Perfect. Although I kind of want it like dead center, or as close as I can get it. Now, what we will do is, before this decoupler is even, you know, like used, we're going to put a protection thing up, basically oh, what's the word for it? I'm spacing on the name, but we're gonna put a fairing. That's the word I'm looking for. So we're gonna put a fairing on the end of this to make it aerodynamic. Before I do that, I realized I could put light bulbs here, right? So I have one on this side, and I'm putting one on this side. And I did the other one red. I'm doing this one, or I did the other one green. I'm doing this one red. So if you turn it on, I got the little red light there. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the fairing here. And is there a way to move it? Oh, I see. Okay, cool. So the way that this is going to work is my fairing is going to go out, and then I'm going to have it go kind of up a little bit, right? So it's kind of, I'm going with more of like a nose here. And then if I add an extra layer, and then this is going to go up like this. Okay, and then we're going to add an extra layer, and then this one's going to go up, but inward, right? Probably like that. We'll add one more. And go ahead and just kind of close it off. towards the tip, if I'm able to do that. Boom. Okay. Oh, and then it just finishes off. Perfect. So that is our little space thing. It's looking kind of phallic. That's our satellite, right? And then we're gonna do this is our second stage, and then now we need our launch stage. This should get us more than into orbit. We actually might be able to get to the moon with this thing. So of course we're gonna need a decoupler, right? Because we got to be able to break it apart from this other stage, which will fall back to the planet. We need just rocket fuel, just standard rocket fuel. I don't know how well methane would end up working, but we want a large tank. And then at the bottom of the large tank, we're going to do just a standard rocket engine. These are probably a bit more powerful than I need. This would you would put something like this in like an array on like a shuttle. This has max thrust 769 compared to our 221, but it's going to blow through our fuel super quick, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because what we could do is we can go to the couplings and we could go with a radial decoupler, and we can put like 3 of these on, right? Like so. And then these 3, we could put a tank, a fuel tank, a small one, not that huge one that I just put on there. Well, actually, maybe we do a a much larger fuel tank. That's not a bad idea. So we'll do these 3. I think that might just be too heavy. You know what? I think what we do is we forget that. We handle our staging. So this is our staging over here. So our first stage will be this rocket. It'll activate. It'll start flying us upward. Oh, you know what? We need a little bit before I forget. Some stabilizers. I don't necessarily need a control surface, but like that's a wing. These are fairly perfect, I think, for what we're going with here. Oh, but it didn't put it down. Did I put it there? Bam. Let's move it real quick. Why is it? We just undo with Control Z. Grab this, and let's do 4, just so it's symmetrical. Otherwise, it's gonna bother me. That should help it keep it a little stable. You'll see what I mean when we take off. Okay, so first stage. Second stage is gonna be this decouple. So it's gonna break that apart. Then this is that fairing at the top. No. We need the fairing basically up here. So the third stage needs to be this rocket. So that decouples. We have this rocket. Oh, there's 2. I see. There's the second fairing here, which I don't know if is necessary for me to put there. So that will do its thing. Then the final stage will be, we'll add a 5th stage essentially. So I'm gonna move this fairing. Come on, controls could be a little bit better. I think it doesn't want to put it in its own stage. Okay, I see. You have to do the plus button there and move it in. So I'm gonna swap these around. Bam. Okay, cool. Let's try it. So the vehicle first flight. I'm so original. Hopefully this works. We're just launching straight out of the here. Okay, so where's it letting me know? Okay, the controls or the UI here is kind of different compared to the original game. So we have our time warp and everything here, which is important when you're traveling a very long ways. You could just be like, let's speed it up. So we can speed up or pause things there. This is our flight control over here. Staging stack is over here, right? We know about that. I don't need the parts manager. We can get rid of that. If you like to learn to fly in a safe simulated environment, be sure to check the training center. So quick little thing. If we go to our map and we look at where we're at, so basically off to our right over here, or it should be our right. I'm having a hard time seeing exactly where we're at. Let's zoom out a little bit. Which direction do we want to fly? It looks like we want to fly that way. So if we look at the tower here, essentially what we're going to want to do is fly up and then kind of start banking to the right a little bit. You don't want to go straight up and then straight over to the right, because the amount of momentum you're changing there and the amount of energy it takes is significantly more than if you just slowly, gradually went right, because we're going to want to go right to get into orbit. You'll see what I mean in a moment here. So where is our throttle control? That is going to be the biggest thing to figure out. If we have any throttle control at all. This is up, this is down. What is all this stuff? Okay, this is our maneuver. Right. Okay, so we start at 100% thrust. So if I do control, it brings it down. If I do shift, it brings it up. And then we're going to kind of start at like 50, because I don't know how powerful this thing is going to be. Oh, that's great. There's an actual countdown. Oh, I love this. This is way better. Yay, there we go. Okay. We are hauling butt. We do not need to be going that fast. Let's throttle it down a little bit. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna watch this wheel. I'm gonna kind of vector myself off this direction. Too much, Zen, too much. Kind of keep it there. Our fuel, as we can see, is over here for this particular engine. I'm not touching it now. I'm just gonna kind of let it do its thing. This green part on our ball here is showing our actual, like, where we're going. Like this is how we're headed here. Let's go ahead and kick it up a notch. We're gonna need a bit more power. And we really want to, oh, too much, no. That's retrograde. That's the retrograde, which is reverse. We don't want to slow down, and we're falling. This is our altitude. This is bad. All right. Let's go ahead and revert to launch. I kicked it up too fast. I told you it was too much. That's why I had the throttle down. I knew from my own experience that was gonna be too much. But the whole launch sequence now is so cool. Before it was just like you launched, and now they're having the countdown and everything. Chef kiss. It's beautiful. This time we're gonna pull it back a little bit. This is part of learning how to fly, especially I'm technically in a new simulator here, right? So now we're just gonna kind of bring it just a little bit. The problem is we don't want to go too fast. This is our surface speed. This is our height. We don't want to go too fast too quickly, because as you see here, this is how dense the atmosphere is. We're in the most dense part now. And if we go too fast in the most dense part, going at too much of a crazy angle, we're going to lose control, as you saw there. And then on top of that, we're also straight up just not going to have much control over our craft to begin with. We kind of want to keep it right here with the speed that we're going. We're about to run out of fuel on this stage, and then we're going to hit spacebar. Just going to get rid of that. Okay, and then we're going to flip around apparently. No, this is not the direction that I want to go. We're going to cut our engine and try to rotate. We are still technically going up. There we go. Let's get the engine to vector. It doesn't want to actually control itself. I'm running out of fuel. I think the top is a bit too heavy for this particular engine we've got going on. I don't want to be firing that direction. If you see on the compass here, if I'm firing at that particular icon, it means I'm actually slowing myself down. That's not what I want to do. Okay, so now we want to be going this way. Yeah, there we go. We'll get there eventually. I'm gonna blow out of fuel way too quickly with this. But as you can see, if I go ahead and cut the engines for a moment and go to the map, you can kind of see where we're at here. So we crash over there. But at our apoapsis, which is our highest point in our thing, we create a maneuver and we go Oh, interesting. They've kind of changed. Yes, maneuver plan. Yes, I know. Go to the training, you dum-dum. If I go prograde, is it going to be able to do it? Oh, this is me setting it to prograde. Actually, that's really convenient that it's doing it automatically. But if I launch at about that point, so if we're looking here, that's going to be the most efficient point for me to kind of make an escape burn, which is going to keep us from crashing entirely. We'll see. So you see our orbit is now starting to encapsulate the planet. I'm not going to have enough fuel here to actually do it, but that's why we test. We test and we test and we test and we test until it works. And if I do a little bit more, yeah, we just don't quite have enough power. Now we know, right? We have a lot of power on that first stage. It's the next one. But what we can do is we can test the rest of our thing here. So we get rid of that. And we pop that out. And now, as it runs into us, get out of here, guy. Just roll over it. Yeah. We are technically in space. I like that it tracks, right? So we can go ahead and extend the panels here to test these out. Yeah, that's going to work beautifully. We can extend our antenna. Yeah. And we can turn our lights on and enable the light. We can also do this as a one touch button, but then yeah, we would have this little beautiful satellite. We can point down or up or wherever we want to, and then we have a cool satellite. I like that. This is autoing to prograde, which is kind of funny that it can do that. I don't necessarily need it to do that, but because we have a probe in here, we can, and our pilot would be able to do that if we had a pilot as well. Cool. Let's go ahead and go back. So we're going to go back to the vehicle bay. So with this cool little trip planner, so if I set it to the moon as a one-way trip, we can see that in order to get to the moon, I don't have enough delta V, which is what this is. I don't have enough power. Ours is currently 3230. We need 5120 in order to get there. And then it does a nice little thing here where just getting into low orbit is going to require 3400, which obviously we are under, and we found that out. To intercept with the moon, it's going to be 860 extra on top of that. Then another 280 for low orbit, and then another 580 for the actual surface. Because in order to land, you're going to have to slow yourself down, so you need more power. So what can I do here? Well, we can remove this, and we can remove this. I could just put another fuel tank on there, which is not a bad idea necessarily. Or what we do is we create a situation where we have some boosters that we're going to get rid of. And the boosters are going to do most of the early lifting. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to get some decouplers, kind of like what I was going to do before. And we will do... Hold on. With these little winglets, can I adjust these winglets? Is it going to let me? Okay, so I put some decouplers. I'm going to try to put them towards the bottom because apparently our batteries and stuff are very heavy up there. So that's something we got to keep in mind. And now we need some rocket boosters. So got some solid fuel boosters here. I could do these large ones. I think it's going to be kind of overkill. So we're going to do a couple of smaller ones, except they need to actually be in line like that. So if we look at our delta V now, we're at 3865. So maybe we do need some larger ones. I mean, 3865 is going to get us into orbit, low orbit, but do I want a little bit more than that? I kind of do. So maybe we go with 2. We're going to have to put this a little higher to pop this here. So that puts us at 4417 delta V, which is quite a lot, honestly. Let's go to arrow. We got to put a cone on the tops of those. 4408, right? There's a little bit of extra weight and everything, but that'll get us into orbit. Now the real thing is I need to change my my thing here. So these two need to launch first, then okay, maybe I won't because it's kind of set it up properly. So our boosters are going to go, then I'm going to break those away when they're done. And then we're also going to use our main engine. Though I actually think it may not be a bad idea to put the main engine in the first stage as well. You can't control the throttle on a solid fuel rocket booster, but you can with our actual fuel engine. So we'll keep the throttle really low, and then we'll bring it back up once these go. So let's try this out. Okay, so let's bring that throttle down to like 20 for now, and let's go. So hype. You could skip it, but I don't want to. I don't want to skip it. It's too cool. I actually probably should rotate it so that the boosters are on the north and south side. Oh, did it not go? Go. We are cruising. I'm gonna have to go basically straight up until these solid engines are gone. I'm gonna lower the main engine throttle. So LF is liquid fuel, OX is oxidizer, and then the SF is solid fuel. Up here we have EC, so that's electricity. These are the amount of G-forces that our craft is experiencing. We're getting high enough now that I feel comfortable going like this without having our craft just like go nuts. Nope, that's not gonna work. It's a very unstable craft, but I can't do anything about it until we get rid of those. Get out of here. Cool. We need prograde. Please point it the right direction, computer. Thank you, computer. Now we can go this way, which is gonna get us most of the way here. Get rid of that. Launch this. I'm gonna bring the throttle way, way down on this. Cool. So if we look at our orbit now, what are we looking like? Not so bad. Our meters here, at least in the first game, I don't know how Kerbin has changed. In this, we wanted about 75,000 meters, and that will get us a stable orbit. So we're gonna create that maneuver here, and I kind of wish, there it goes. So then we can pull this out. So this will allow us to see exactly how much throttle or fuel power we're gonna need to get into an orbit. That seems like it'll do the job. So we're gonna start our burn in about 1.5 minutes to get there. We can warp to it, which is nice. So we'll go ahead and do that. I like that it speeds it up. And then I'm gonna probably go just a little bit early with it. Time warp limited due to proximity. Yeah, so it tried to speed us up even further, but we're gonna go ahead and do this. And you're gonna see our orbit marker or orbital marker be going out. I should have enough fuel to do this. It's gonna be good enough, I think. And then boom. Now we have an official orbit around the planet. In fact, it's a little eccentric. It kind of goes pretty far out there. Our periapsis, which are our lowest point, does skim the... Okay, here's what we're gonna need to do now. Let's get rid of that maneuver. We're gonna go ahead and time warp a bit out to this maneuver, which is our apoapsis. This isn't the best, huh? And when we get there, what's our electricity like? We're golden. I'm not using any at the moment. Even though I have the stability control on, which is the SIS, you could turn this off and on. Don't even need it. So we're gonna pause at about, I have like no fuel left. At about right here. And I'm gonna set that to go prograde, which again is going forward, basically, instead of backwards. And once our compass has gone prograde, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick little burn, and we'll see the periapsis go up like so. Beautiful. Out of fuel, that's fine. We don't want to revert. Why would we want to revert? We have the coolest thing ever to get rid of that. I could have gotten rid of that before, honestly. And then get rid of that final stage. And then we can extend our panels. It's so cool. We can extend our, where is it? Utility, communication? No, sorry, our lights. Yeah, we need our lights. Boop. Emissions enabled? No. Blink enabled? Can I blink it? Oh, that's cool. Oh, there's so many like cool little control things you could do with this now. Do I want the blink on this too? That's pretty cool. I like that. I'm going to keep that. And then communication, Communicatron. Yeah, we're going to extend that sucker. Look at our cool little guy. I love this. We got our own little satellite. That, don't worry about that space debris. It won't cause any issues further down the line. Just don't worry about it. You totally won't run into stuff accidentally. Possibly, sometimes. Oh, this is so cool. Now we got our own little satellite. I think that's a pretty... Oh, look how beautiful this is. Yeah, baby. I wonder if there's a way... So let's turn off SAS. I wonder if there is a way to have your thing like locked in on Kerbin at any given point. So there is, and I should probably point this out. Notification, lack of stellar exposure. What? There is a thing where... If I put that, there we go. Let's just leave it like that. Oh, it's so cool. I love our little satellite that we've made. If you go to the options menu, which is down here, one of the things that they've added is probes require signal for control. And there was a whole mod that had done this before they added this kind of thing into the official Kerbal Space Program, the original, that made it so you had to set up satellites for probes. So basically, you know, imagine I'm trying to control this probe. Our space center is on the other side of the planet. The planet's blocking it. So you would need to create fairly high orbit satellites that could bounce and relay information off of them. And it was so cool to be able to do that. And they have that just like baked in to start with. But I'm loving it. And I think our cool little satellite here. Oh, I love this so much. I'm having so much fun. I sunk literally thousands of hours into the first game, and I for sure see myself doing the same thing here. Maybe there will be a series that I do on the channel, kind of like what I did in the past. I did a whole series where I went to each planet and I had a cool little story in with it. Maybe we do that when the game gets some more updates, but as it is, like just having the sandbox mode and being able to make stuff and kind of get used to the strange qualities of the gravity of this planet and other planets and just how things work, and being able to build cool rovers and whatnot and send them to the moon. It's just so much fun. And if you're into this, I'll always put the link in the description for my first impression stuff, so you can go check it out on Steam. If you like this video, hit that like button, the thumbs up, so everybody else can see just how freaking cool this is. And if you're not subscribed already, I upload daily and have been doing so for 11 years, so there's plenty of content for you to check out, though I do not recommend going back and watching my old Kerbal content because it was a long time ago. And just things are different now. Things are different. Finally, if you want to support the channel and you like what I do, you can become a channel member by hitting the join button below. But I'm gonna go get to the moon, put a rover down, build a base. I'm gonna go have some fun at Kerbal because this is just like hitting that nostalgia spot for me, and I'm loving it to death. With all that being said, thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you all next time.